WLG me.
So what's going on with this? With all these people crying, man, about this PlayStation exclusivity, man? Like they ain't been doing it for years.
Because everyone's switching to Xbox. That's why.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? It's just one character. Like, how is it relevant? I mean, we've had it before with like Soul Calibur and a bunch of other games.
Well, how do you feel about it? Does it matter to you?
Nah, it doesn't matter. Like, if I had an Xbox and I didn't have access to Spider-Man, like, there's supposed to be like a whole bunch of other characters that I'm supposed to be able to play. Like, I got Iron Man, I got Thor, I got Hulk, I got like everybody, and they're probably gonna come out the guns with like some other stuff, you know, some random character that I never played, like Adam or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be too many characters to worry about one character. Like, I don't get it. I guess maybe if I'm sad that I didn't get a chance to play it on the PlayStation,
right,
you know, the actual Spider-Man game or something.
So it's not a big deal in your mind.
Nah,
it's tiny.
I feel like
it's tiny potatoes.
Yeah, I feel like that's the reason why we buy the system we buy. It's for the exclusivity, right?
Right. What do you think, Mark?
Personally, I wasn't going to play as Spider-Man the character, so it has no impact on me. Obviously, Spider-Man doesn't affect the story then, because, you know, in the story missions, it locks you into characters. So
True.
It kind of sucks that Spider-Man is not
That's
involved in the story.
yeah.
Or maybe PlayStation has a different story. Who knows? But to me, it doesn't really... If I had both consoles and I didn't have a group of friends picking one, I would buy the PlayStation one, obviously, because it has more content available.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has a more character. So it kind of, for me, just locks in which one you're going to buy. But it's not a deal breaker for the game in general.
Right. I'll tell you what, man. This is what's going to happen. I already see it. This is going to turn into like a PlayStation exclusive. People are going to look at this game. Xbox, like people who are Xbox fans are gonna be like, I'm done, I'm over Marvel. I'm not even gonna. It's gonna like turn into like this exclusivity thing, when it's not an exclusive game. It's for everyone to play. Yeah. Everyone can play it, but it's gonna turn into this console war thing. Yeah, people are gonna be at each other's throats over one character. Like, I already see this. I already see it happening online, where all the Xbox fans are gonna be swearing this game off. They're gonna boycott it all for this one simple.
Yeah, I know
action.
They didn't say, like, is it a timed exclusive?
This is exclusive.
Nah, this is fully.
This is full exclusive.
So much money behind
did they say that? Did they say that anywhere?
It just says exclusive. Normally, they would say timed exclusive.
Yes.
Like, it's literally stamped time exclusive anytime there's something shown. Like, some of the other games, I think, that were mentioned.
Yeah, they clearly say
just
it.
Recently, they
right.
literally say, like, timed exclusive.
So this is what I think was going to happen. Their pre-sales are going to go down just a little bit, and then it's going to switch to a time exclusive. That's what I feel like is going to happen, potentially.
The reason why I don't think it will ever turn into a timed exclusive is because I'm under the impression, or from what I understand, I believe Sony has made some deals with Marvel. Okay, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man movie and video. Mm-hmm. Right, they own the rights to that, but not gaming,
the merchandise and
comic books. Only movie, film, and video. They own the rights to Spider-Man.
Okay.
Marvel owns the rights to games and stuff like that, right, with Spider-Man. But I think when they were in the negotiations for putting Spider-Man in the Marvel movies, right, because he became part of like the Marvel universe of characters.
Yeah, but they were battling about that.
They were battling about that for a long time, and so I think what I believe is part of the agreement to allow Sony to allow Spider-Man on the big screen, because Sony owns all the rights to the big screen of Spider-Man, is you gotta let us have exclusivity in games then, to a degree, and I think this is we're seeing part of that agreement made. That Sony is now saying, hey, you know, we're keeping iron in the deal. We gave you Spider-Man for the big screen. You got to give us Spider-Man for the gaming too. And that's why I don't see it ever switching. Spider-Man is basically becoming like a Sony thing.
Gotcha. So is that set in stone, or is that part of
and
speculation?
The interviews that I've watched, they have never even hinted, or they're very, very strict. Like, if you want to play they're basically saying like what Marcus was saying. Hey, there's plenty of characters to play. We think you're gonna have a great time on Xbox. You can play anyone you want.
Worried
We've
about
given you
one
tons of
character.
characters. You're worried about one character. And basically at the end they kind of did a little shot and they said, I can't remember the guy. I think it was the director of Crystal Dynamics or whatever. Was like, and if you really want to play Spider-Man, then buy a PlayStation. Like they were very firm on this being a
going
PlayStation
back,
thing.
This is published by Ubisoft, right?
No, Crystal Dynamics.
Oh, Crystal Dynamics. I don't know
Yes.
what I was thinking. Ubisoft. Okay.
Yeah. So for me,
Kinda
I don't
feels
think
like
it's
it, right?
ever
Huh?
it's
Kinda
ever.
feels a little bit like Ubisoft.
Yeah, it does feel like a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this is ever going away. I think it's staying on PlayStation. But the people, I guess we could talk about this. The people are talking about how Sony is anti-consumer. Like Sony's doing this, so therefore they're anti-consumer. Like,
Which
golly,
is
sorry, what are
ridiculous.
your thoughts on something like that?
I don't know, but first, welcome to the We Love Gaming podcast. This is episode 11. I'm Godly Sovereign, it's Markariah, Sir Knight. But anyways, I don't know. I don't feel like PlayStation is anti-consumer. I feel like they're literally trying to hunt for consumers. Like I feel like they're literally presenting a whole plate on the table for you, and they're like, "Hey, we got all of this. You know, choose one.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is what we got here, but you won't find this over there at the other table. You know what I mean? It's just like they're literally trying to find like each and every way to make it more desirable to come over there to their side. They're like,
Right.
yeah, I know they got Game Pass and all that.
Yeah.
We got Spider-Man. And if you really enjoyed Marvel's Avengers, you're going to enjoy all of the premium exclusive content. We got a couple of war zones. We got a couple of other things that are literally only going to be able to be played on the PlayStation. You like items exclusives? We got that too.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? They're doing nothing but trying to give the people who have a PlayStation something more.
Sure.
A little more. Like, you know, loyalty program, right?
Mhm.
Thanks for being a part of the PlayStation crew. You know what I mean? Like here's a little something. You know, so I like that.
Yeah, like for me, I agree. It's like, what else are they supposed to be doing? Like
It's a
they work
business
for
at
a
the end of the
company,
day.
right? Like they work for Sony. Shouldn't the execs and producers trying to make Sony a more valuable product to own? Like, what else are they supposed to do? Like, the people like they have this dream world, I guess, where there's no exclusives and everything is for everyone. Then, but that hurts the company Sony. That hurts the company Microsoft to have
Yeah.
nothing exclusive to their system.
It's been hurting the
Like,
company Microsoft.
this is
in
a bit,
sense.
yeah, it's been hurting the company of
I mean,
Microsoft.
they're not doing bad, but at the same time, you know, they're not getting like top of the line sales. Like, isn't every other console beating the Xbox? Like, isn't the Switch sales like
Yes.
more than the Xbox? Isn't the PlayStation
Yes.
PS4 sales more than the Xbox?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see it really changing like that until maybe this next console that comes out, and that just could be because it's cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's available.
Yeah, but I think too, it's because maybe Microsoft is the newest console out of the bunch, so it's always, you know,
Struggling.
coming from
Yeah.
behind. So I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it never sold better than a Nintendo or PlayStation product, because honestly, it doesn't have that
Right.
legacy as the other ones do. You know, maybe in 100 years, maybe it.
But I mean,
it could
ain't
be.
that
But
far behind though, is it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's really far
Didn't
behind.
the Xbox come out at the same time as like what, PlayStation 2?
came out after the PlayStation 2.
You know, after, yeah. It hasn't, yeah, it wasn't until I think, yeah, PlayStation 2 is when the Xbox. So PlayStation 2 was already launched.
Uh-huh.
And then the Xbox came out
Came out
during
after
that
that.
generation.
Uh-huh.
And then PS3 on. So that's. So you have.
I mean, they
the
got
whole,
a little bit of a head start, but it's just one gen.
Okay,
head
well,
start.
Nintendo goes all the way back to the
Yeah.
80s, and
Yeah.
PlayStation's in the 90s.
They just got that, yeah.
Right?
And,
So.
and Nintendo covered console and handheld. So
Yeah, so
that's
I'm
what
saying, you know,
everybody is.
Nintendo's got 30 plus years, certainly almost 20 to 30 years, right, of building relationships with these developers, with these companies, like being part of the industry. I agree with Mark's point. Like, Microsoft is new to the party, relatively new. They haven't been there like Nintendo for sure, and Sony to a large degree. And Sony has sold more consoles than anyone in the history of gaming.
Okay, but are we not including Microsoft's PC legacy?
No, I would say.
I mean,
Not in
they-
the console world.
Nah.
They've been
Not for
selling
third-party
games
console
and different
games.
things like
yeah,
that.
that's a good point. They've been around, but I'm just talking in terms of consoles.
Okay, just the actual hardware.
Yeah, obviously, them having the Microsoft name, I think if it was another company's Xbox, it probably would have fizzled out. But I think Microsoft, obviously, when it first came out, that was probably the reason why a lot of people had some faith in, oh, let's try this.
It's like the Amazon with the MMO thing, right? People have faith in Amazon to produce something good. Same thing happened with the Microsoft. Because I bought an Xbox, I was super pumped for it. I enjoyed my Xbox. We really had a good time with the Xbox.
Yeah, that big old brick.
Yeah, we enjoyed that. But for me, like, I agree too with Gali Sovereign about this is not, to me, this isn't anti-consumerism. This is the very epitome of consumerism.
Yeah.
They're trying to provide their consumers
catering
something
to,
unique.
They're catering to a crowd, their crowd.
Yeah, their consumers.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, like, Phil Spencer, get to work.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing, Phil Spencer? Like, this is your job. Provide your audience with something unique. I mean, if anyone's fault, this is Phil's fault.
Yeah, because the majority of people have a PlayStation, right? It's safe to say, would you guys say internationally, globally, that it's safe to say that there's more people playing on PlayStation than Microsoft?
Yep.
So by doing this, they're catering to the majority of the people.
And
so that's why I don't think it's ever bad when you're catering to the majority of the market.
All right, but on that note, right, we have the console, Xbox, but just like Phil, your man Phil said, there are no exclusives. So they're always catering towards PC as well as Xbox. So, I mean, yeah, there's a large crowd of people that have PlayStations, but there's an even larger crowd of people that just do PC, period.
Right.
And so if you add that PC and that Xbox community together, that's almost like one entity in a sense.
I think those lines are just getting blurred now because at the start of last gen, I feel like the PC and Xbox, like
were two different things.
But now I feel like the strategy is they're blurring the lines, you know? So I do agree with you. I feel like next gen, we will see that completely. But I feel like we're seeing that Xbox and PlayStation, seeing the lines blurred between the two. They're trying to make more of like a platform opposed to just a console. With all their exclusivities and things like that. So I think they're just starting to treat that thing as a one, but that's, you know, a newer convention, you know.
Let me ask you this too. Golly, Mark, right? It sounds like you guys both understand exclusives and you don't hate them. They're fine in your book, but do you like them? Would you rather the world be exclusive free? What is just your philosophy on exclusives?
So, I mean, that's a good question. I'll go first on that one. Like, for that, right, I feel like if you had the choice, right, you could get a PlayStation, an Xbox, PC. You could even get a Switch if you wanted. But that game was out on all systems. Every game was out on all systems.
Right.
That would make the gaming economy a little bit better, right? Because you would just pick the system that gives the best output of gaming graphics, the one that can do the most capable, which technically would be PC, right?
Right.
So everybody would just have their PC, attach their controllers to it, and then you'd play all the games that you wanted to play, and there'd be no problems.
We wouldn't have companies, but yeah.
Yeah,
right.
You wouldn't. Yeah, there's no competition. There's nobody trying to one up each other. Like, I mean, it's like, I guess you'd have competition as far as the gaming studios go, the ones that create the games, because they want their game to be better sold than the other game that was great or whatever. But I feel like that's kind of
it's unrealistic.
Like, it's boring.
Yeah,
it's kind of boring. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like. It's like I want the PlayStation because of how it looks, you know, but
That's
I also want
it, right?
because, you know, of all the games and whatnot. But if I'm literally just looking at, okay, what looks nice, you know, with my setup or whatever, like, I mean, I feel like those things wouldn't even get sold. I mean, maybe it'd be more money to put into the gaming studios for them to have more people to make the games a little bit more elaborate. And maybe folks wouldn't think that, we need to go back to 7-hour games. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the thing that's like super cool. Like, I don't want something I just blow through in one day. You know what I mean? I want longevity on ones. But
what about you, Mark?
Yeah.
So for me, like you're saying, for consumerism, if I'm a company, I need to try to maximize value for my customers. So when they have a product, I need them to feel like, all right, this is giving you something that nothing else does. I mean, every product tries to do this. So this concept is nothing new. So with that being said, for gaming, I want to have a console that the company's looking out, trying to provide the best experience, getting the most exclusive content possible. So it's a necessary evil for those that only have one console. But when you have all the consoles, it kind of means nothing, you know. And I plan to get
necessary evil, huh?
Yeah, so I feel like it's necessary evil because the companies have to do this to try to maximize value for their customers.
So you think your philosophy is it's kind of an evil. It's not good, but but it makes perfect sense.
Let's face it. I would like for everyone to play Spider-Man.
Okay.
But PlayStation, they have to provide value. So this their business strategy.
Right.
So, of course, I want everyone to play Spider-Man. But I get why it's necessary to do what they got to do to sell their product. I mean, if I had a business, I'd be trying to maximize.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
absolutely.
trying to go for the exclusive stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, what
you got to do what you got to do.
For me, I'll kind of piggyback off Godly Sovereign, where I think it is good. I don't know if I would necessarily quantify it as a necessary evil, but I do see that. Like, I do see it. Yeah, of course, we would all want every game on every system, but to me, like, at what cost? Like, I think we've gotten a lot of good games based off the competition that consoles create, right? Like, I think competition, you have competition between games, but then you have like a deeper level of competition between companies and their console they're providing. And competition's always good for the consumer. Mm-hmm. Competition is only ever good for us, the consumer, right? We always win. So the more competition there is, the more we win as consumers. And so it forces Microsoft to put out better games. It forces Sony to make better games and make them more perfect.
They're putting out better games,
they aren't, but they should. Or better services,
yeah.
Right? So they've gone a different direction to compete by giving us better services. The separate businesses is what creates that. We wouldn't have Game Pass, I think, if you could just get every game on every system.
Nah.
What point would there be for Microsoft to do that, right?
Side note, did you happen to notice that PS Now had introduced 3 new titles? Like
yes,
shortly after
I did.
The
yes.
game showcase.
Really? I saw that.
So they introduced Watch Dogs 2, which is old as hell. That's like 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
Ancient.
And then they introduced Hitman. I think it was like Hitman 2 or something like that, or the original Hitman, some old as hell again. And then the third one, I forgot what the third one was. Do you happen to remember?
I don't remember.
Was it like Assassin's Creed game or something?
No, I don't remember. I wanted to say like
no. It was.
Clancy.
I think it was Origins. Assassin's Creed Origins or something.
Was
like
it?
That. Was available.
Hey, those are
decent games, but they're very old.
They're old, but I'm damn sure not paying no PS Now subscription price to play Origins.
No.
Or Watch Dogs 2. Like,
dude, we just played Grounded. Like, the game just launched, right? And we're playing it on Xbox.
Like,
the games are just coming out and we immediately get access to them.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, and I was on Grounded, man. I want to play some more, by the way. But
yeah.
But I gotta get my control situation.
But I definitely saw that too. I was like, oh, look at Sony is like they're a little nervous, right?
Yeah.
They're a little nervous.
Nah, they was just like, wink, wink, y'all with us still, right?
But
it would have been nicer if they had shot us like a free, 3-month subscription to PS Now and then
to
check out these games.
I agree with
that we put out there. That would have been a little bit better. But yeah, so I mean, how do you feel about Horizon Zero Dawn now being available on the PC when it was a PlayStation exclusive? Why the hell are they giving it to the PC?
I feel like, let's go to Sega, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Sega, they put Persona 4 on Steam.
Okay.
And they saw it blew all their projections. So as a result of that, Sega is in the talks of releasing a lot of older games on the PC
so they can get some more money.
Because they sell so fantastic.
Yeah.
And if it's an older game that's already coming out, I would say there's no reason. New games, I mean, that comes to the value talks. But I would say releasing something on a PC, because there's a lot of people who are such a diehard PC, and it doesn't matter how fancy and shiny the PlayStation or the Xbox is, they'll just stick with their PC. So I feel like that's a market that's kind of on the outside. If you release things to them, I don't think it's necessarily. I would say it only at launch. If you release something on a PC and on the PlayStation, I mean, you can't say it's an exclusive.
Right.
So I feel like it's
which
smart.
is what Xbox does every time.
Yeah, but I kind of be like, if I'm PlayStation, I kind of be like, yo, WTF, man? Like, that was one of my heavy hitters. You know what I mean? For the PlayStation 4. Why are we dropping this?
But like I said,
nah,
if it's
I
old,
still want to sell
yeah.
my old game
okay.
systems and get them joints off the shelf.
Oh, it helps you sell them.
Yeah, you know
helps
what I
you
mean?
sell
Like,
the system.
that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
like
fair. No, that's a
if
good point.
you know that only God of War can be found on the PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only Horizon Zero Dawn can be found on the only Spider-Man can be found on the PlayStation. Well, then I guess I gotta get a PlayStation then, because there's no other way I can enjoy those games.
Right.
But the moment you start trickle releasing stuff here and there to the PC, it's just like, dang, all right, well, I don't need to get it then. I already got a PC. I'm gonna just get it there. You know what I mean? So that's like a possible console sale that's now out the window. You know, I mean, more than likely, it's probably not.
Right.
But, you know, because everybody who wants it, they already got it. But, you know.
Is Guerrilla Games is who makes Horizon Zero Dawn, right? I believe it's Guerrilla Games.
I think so.
Aren't they owned by Sony? I think they're owned by Sony.
Yeah, that's a Sony.
Yeah, it's a
studio.
Sony studio. So my first thought when I saw that was like, okay, Sony had to okay this. So I'm thinking that Sony's getting a cut.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's their gaming studio.
So they
just wanna
negotiated.
sell more.
Because Sony's losing out. Like what you're saying, Sony's losing out on potential console sales, game sales, by switching it over to PC, switching Horizon over to PC, and that was a cost that Guerrilla Games was probably in deep negotiations trying to get their game on PC because they saw like the success of like Persona 4. And Sony, I guess, gave them the okay. So I think Sony allowed this to happen.
Sorry, Days Gone. That's what it was.
Days Gone.
It was Days Gone.
Oh, what about it?
Oh, that's the other game on PlayStation now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
think
a...
so.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I think so.
Okay, well, that's newer.
That one's fairly
That
newer.
one's newer. Yeah.
I'm going to check real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to check. One of you guys may want to look at it and see.
But for me, the only thought is like Sony had to have been integrally a part of this, right, to allow this to happen.
Yeah, for sure. They had to give the okay, but it's just like maybe how long has it been since Horizon Zero Dawn? I thought it's only
Over
been
a
like
year, right?
a year or two.
Yeah, Zero Dawn was maybe a few years now.
Okay.
So I'm just
It's been
wondering,
a while.
So that just makes me wonder, like, okay, if they did it with Horizon Zero Dawn, why Horizon Zero Dawn? Like, why? Why not all of the other ones? Like, why aren't all of the PlayStation titles that are exclusives eventually coming to PC? I only hear about a couple of them coming to PC.
Sony's gonna turn into Sega, like what Mark is saying. Like,
just re-release their old catalog.
no, you just end up becoming a game developer. I'm just a game developing studio, and like that's what Microsoft wants, right? Because Microsoft owns the PC realm. So like for me, it's like Sony is like they're like the one thing standing in the way of like that happening.
Yeah.
Because eventually it might happen, right? Because Sony's gonna see the profits in this, just exactly what's happening with Sega.
Yeah.
Sony's gonna see the profits and like, wow, we're making so much money when we release this on PC. You know, so I don't know. You know, like I'm a little concerned.
I think that's another necessary evil because that funds the PlayStation being able to cut a deal, or let's say another game to cut these exclusive deals. I mean, they need money to make these deals, so this is their way of making some profits to fund those exclusives. To front for those exclusives. And I feel like a game that came out a couple years ago, who cares? Like, it should be able to come to PC.
It's like Pandora's box, though, man. Like,
because you're right, it is.
Yeah, like the moment people realize, wait a minute, if I just wait long enough, why get a PlayStation? Yeah, like PC. I'm gonna eventually get this on PC. Why buy a PlayStation?
Right,
like,
exactly.
Like it's like Sony's kind of like even just like stepping their foot into that door is like opening like Pandora's box. Like, wait a minute, this could be you doing this could be the end, right? Or the beginning of the end.
You can start blurring the lines.
Yeah,
just like
blurring
Microsoft.
the line, just like Microsoft, and now all of a sudden Microsoft wins. Because of that, they're getting that money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I mean,
talking about PlayStation, right?
Yeah, it's interesting to see like where that's gonna go. You know, because it could be like Mark was saying. It could be one of those taste testers, or they just throw a heavy title out there that made them quite a bit of money, see how it sells again for the PC, and then they're just going to start going in,
We'll see.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So other than that, we had the State of Play, right? That was showcased on Thursday.
Yep.
So
pretty good look, pretty good size.
Yeah, they had a list of games that were out there. So how'd you feel about the Crash
Bandicoot?
Yeah, the Crash show.
I'm disappointed in Crash Bandicoot, only because, look, it was a great game. It's been 22 years. 22 years. and it looks just like the original game. Like, I would rather have something a little bit more innovative, you know, a little bit more unique. So for me, I don't know if this game is being lazy and they're just trying to cash grab on the Crash Bandicoot name.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I mean a little cynical here. I mean a little bit of a cynic here, but I tend to think that's what it is. Or if they honestly think that people just wanted the same exact game over again. So for me, I'm not hyped for this game at all. Like, I would have wanted to see something new. I was like, oh, wow, Crash is back and it looks like that. Like something awesome and unique to draw me in. So I'm not excited for Crash really at all. I mean, we're paying $60 for this? Is that a $60 game?
I mean, did you pay $60 for Rayman?
No.
No?
No.
Bought it for like $5.
Yeah.
You guys waited on that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, is that a $60 game?
No.
Well, I mean, it's like when they dropped Rayman again, you know what I mean? It was $60.
Yeah,
It was full
that's-
price, especially on the Switch. God, they haven't
Well,
reduced
Switch
that
full price
yet.
is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, this ain't a $60 game. But
Yeah.
what it is it's a good continuation of the franchise. Let's not talk about price for a second, but I think it stays true to the original formula. They're adding cosmetics. Everyone loves cosmetics.
Mhm.
One thing they noted is they will not charge, which I thought it was.
For nothing.
Thank goodness. You know, don't charge for that kind of stuff. You earn everything in game, so that's cool. They're adding collectibles. Now you can run on walls. Like, you could swing around on ropes. So they're adding a cool new twists to an OG PlayStation game. So I think that's welcomed. But once you talk about price, this ain't worth $60. No way. This may be worth. If this was $19.99 on launch, I would buy it for sure.
Think about it though, like
But that's about as much as I would pay.
when we look at indie games, like especially the ones that go back to like the OG Nintendo, right, and Super Nintendo, the 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit games.
Like Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, we're not paying full price for those games because they know that they're a rehash of what we've
Gotcha.
all already played for 30 years. So they charge $10, $20 for like these types of games because they know they're a rehash. And yeah, we like those. We like rehash games, but I ain't trying to pay $60 for a game that's, you know, age old, a game from an age old past. And I feel like that's what Crash Bandicoot is. And I'm concerned it's going to be a full price game.
But Crash isn't. They didn't reuse
Yeah.
everything. It's all like new levels and stuff like that.
No,
and
yeah, but
redesign.
it's the
Same
same
the
formula.
formula.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a 1990s formula.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like I think what their goal was is to hit nostalgia in this, as well
See
as hopefully bringing in some new. So
And for $20,
I
I'm
mean,
fine. Like, I'm with
yeah.
Mark. For $20, that's worth a buy, but not for 60.
yeah, I mean, I used to love Crash Bandicoot back in the day. You know, I got like maybe the first 2 or something like that.
Yeah, but are you
But
looking forward to
after
playing
a
that
while-
over Horizon? Over
Yeah, I mean,
Spider-Man?
it's not
an age-old
anything-
game.
Yeah, it's just the platformer type of aspect. I feel like those should be left to indies.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a
You know,
good
from
It
point.
now
feels like
on.
an indie
Like,
game.
I feel
Good
like
point. That's a
I
good
feel like
point.
it shouldn't be a AAA title
Yes.
or something like that, or like a AAA studio should not be focusing on doing like platformers, like jump here, jump there, make it to there. You know what I mean? Boom, you
Unless
got
they
the new level.
reinvented it, like
Put
with
it on mobile.
Zelda,
You
right?
can
The
put it
Breath
on
of the
mobile.
Wild, it became like they reinvent it, right? And they make it fresh
point.
and new,
But
and you're like,
that was
now that's
more-
worth full price.
That was more of like an open world.
Yeah, they
like
reinvented
RPG
it,
or
kind
whatever
of.
in a sense. Like it didn't feel like a platformer. You know what I mean? It felt like it
No.
had puzzles in it.
No,
but
yeah.
this is like strictly.
Yeah, it's the
platform.
same old 90s formula, which
Yeah.
is my beef with it is.
Right.
And they're peddling it like, oh, aren't you so excited for Crash? Like, look at, here it is again. I'm like, dude, it looks the same as 1990.
Yeah. It would have been kind of dope if they had gotten like the world, you know, the Crash Bandicoot world, and then they just had like all of these puzzles.
That
and
would've
levels
been
and
cool.
stuff
That would have
throughout
been
the
that would have
world.
been
That'd
cool.
kinda
Crash
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
They didn't
That
really
Yeah,
would've
like
been
he's
cool.
just trying to like save the world against like this, you know, this higher being or whatever, and you know, and he's just, you know, spreading out through his land. You know what I mean? To
Right.
be able to rescue, you know, his land or whatever from that creature or something. You know, that would have been kind of
Yeah.
cool, but because it would have been something that's more up to date and it would have gave you a totally different feel. You know what I mean? But you still could have had the same, you know, moves and different things like that. You know, but I feel like then you'd have to make Crash look more real.
Yeah, the jury for
But
so for
I don't
me,
know.
I'm with Mark. The jury's out until I see the price.
Yeah.
If we just take price out of it, yeah, it looks fun. But I start to think, don't don't you dare try to sell this to me as a AAA title.
No
Don't
way.
you dare, right?
Yeah, if
try
this
that.
is a $60 game, man.
That's a fail. You
Yeah.
know?
For sure. And then they also showed the Hitman VR. So essentially, you can
It's Hitman 3.
Yeah, so you
They
get-
showed Hitman 3
right
with
so,
VR support.
Right. So I mean, that's interesting that you'll be able to commit mass murders and stuff like that in first person perspective, through VR. That's
So
interesting.
you're the Hitman fan, right, Sir Knight?
Well, I've played Hitman.
Okay.
Mark,
Yeah, I've
Mark,
played
he's
Hitman as
You're the
well.
Hitman.
he's
fan.
probably played
'Cause I
more
didn't-
Hitman than me.
Oh,
Godly
okay.
Sovereign's played more
Yeah.
than me.
Maybe a little bit more, but yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So were you pretty hyped for this? Because I know you love VR too. So
Dude, honestly, man, I could care less
Dang, okay.
about this.
Really?
Like,
okay,
Huh.
I've played Hitman a couple of times before, and it's a cool game, but it's never been anything that's just captivated me. Like, oh, this is another Hitman out. Day one, I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
It's like the last Hitmans that I've gotten have all been free from the PlayStation Plus store.
Okay.
So, this is like, it's cool. I still got Saints and Sinners to finish on VR, so this isn't anything that I'm like jumping to go and get.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's definitely something that, because my
Huh.
VR library is so small, that hopefully, GameStop goes out of business or something, and they start unloading VR games for the
you
low
can buy the
low.
whole library.
Yeah, then I can
Okay.
buy everything that I wanted to play. But Iron Man VR had just recently released, maybe like a month or two ago, and I didn't get that. I just
Well-
played the demo, but
I'm a little bit different than you, actually.
Yeah.
Because this is Hitman 3. This is not Hitman like VR. It's not like a dumbed down version. This is like the real game you're getting in VR. So it's the real AAA title.
right.
I liked the first person. I thought it looked great too. Like I thought the graphics looked really good. It looked real. The people in the room felt very authentic as they were, socializing. I thought it looked great. And like when I saw him go up and like pull his weapon out, to take the guy out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is very, enthralling. So for me, I was actually excited about it. Because it's different. Like it's a kind of a twist on the Hitman. Normally it's like third person. Like you see your guy walking around. In this one, it's like your first person. So I liked that twist. It looked cool. It looked good, and it looked fun to me.
Yeah, I did see the video and some of the gameplay, but I'm more interested in what it's gonna actually look like to my eyes, if it looks
Gotcha.
that same way, because I'm the lens on
Yeah.
the VR is a little weaker than all of the stuff we can see on TV.
I don't
so-
have VR. So
Yeah,
I'm talking
so-
strictly from
Yeah,
the
me neither.
PlayStation 5 perspective.
Right.
It looked fun.
Yeah, so I mean, it's probably gonna be fun. Like a lot of the VR games are fun, the ones that have more substance in them. But what I'm interested in is, are they gonna keep like the full game? They cut nothing from it to dumb it down, and are the graphics gonna be a bit better? Because that's gonna be the big issue. You know what I mean? If you got choppy graphics, it might not interest you to play it in the VR. You might
Right.
just want to play it, just to play it, but you might go back to playing it, with your controller or whatever. And, who knows if you're able to use your move sticks to be able to wrap your hands around somebody and, pull tight, struggle to choke the life out of them, or if it's something you still have to play with your controller with. So, I'm just interested to see how they're going to implement it. But if they are able to create like some really good graphics, they spent time with it, and they gave you like a whole game on it, that's definitely going to be a game changer for as
VR.
far as it goes for other VR games. Because right now, I think like Saints and Sinners, The Walking Dead is like one of the more material in it games for the VR, because you have quests, you're actually able to roam around in a
Right.
big area. This is a lot to explore, and it's been different from all of the other ones where they just streamline you to going to point A to point C, when you hit B up on the way.
Right. What do you think
Yeah,
about it,
so
Mark?
as someone who hasn't played much of Hitman other than that starter pack that's available, and who hasn't really played much of VR, it didn't really showcase anything that got me interested in either of them at this point in time. Not to say that I'm not interested in VR, but it didn't do anything for
Right.
me to want to go get it VR for the PlayStation and to pick up Hitman at the same time. It looked good though, but it didn't
Mhm.
excite me, and it wasn't anything that
You're fine with the regular version of it.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with the regular version as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't get me too excited.
It sounds like VR is like dying. We don't hear about.
They're just not putting a lot of love into it.
There was
man.
like a 5-year window, right, where like it was just VR,
it was projected
VR,
to be everything,
VR,
Facebook,
right? And all of a
bot,
sudden,
everything.
yeah, we don't hear about VR
But-
ever anymore.
But PlayStation's done that a lot, right? They did that with the PSP. They did that with the PS Vita. You know what I mean? They try to like push it out there, and they try to like, give it a whole lot of energy and backing it and whatnot.
Well, I'm talking about
and
like
then
all of it, like
fizzles
Oculus,
Just in general, yeah.
Oculus, like all there was like it was a big old craze where like everything was VR, and like now there's nothing there's no craze anymore. The craze is gone. Like, yeah, it's like PlayStation VR is still there, and they still throw a game or two out there, but
they haven't talked about next gen VR or anything.
That's just I don't know. I feel like it's dying.
I don't know. Maybe they'll start boosting up augmented reality. Maybe that's a little bit better.
Yeah, that might be fun.
Like
that does
AR.
sound cool.
Who knows? But yeah, so then they had the Spelunky 2. That was showcased.
Oh yeah.
I kind of thought that Spelunky 1 was like a cool little couch co-op, something to just, shoot the crap with, just, for fun. Spelunky 2, like, I'll get it if it's free. But other than that, I'm not looking to buy it.
Yeah, Spelunky 2, I actually was more excited than Crash or Hitman so far, when I saw Spelunky.
Same.
Okay.
The reason being is, one, now there's online. Because you could play co-op before. Now there's online, so this is great. Now we can play together wherever we are. So that feature is awesome. And the second feature is they said they're adding so many more, like, hidden exploration things. So now, because in games like this, at first, I always suck at these games for at least, like, a couple weeks. So I'm not, like, trying to get every nook and cranny. I'm just trying to stay alive. But now they're saying they're adding all these hidden, like, you can find different pathways and you can find, different treasures from through exploring. So I'm like, the risk versus reward suck, but let's go see what I can find. Especially if you're playing multiplayer, it might make that a little easier. So, I always loved the style of Spelunky.
Yeah,
so
great style graphics.
They, it just looks a little more refined. But yeah, it looked fantastic. Like I said, out of the games that we talked about so far, this is definitely. This will definitely be a game that's like $20 that you get on day one. No regrets, it's just a $20 game.
I agree. Like,
you think it's gonna be 20 though?
Yeah,
I think so. Because I mean, these games are always like games that they give you on PlayStation Plus. These are cheap little indie games. So I'm speculating, but I think it'll probably.
I think you're right. 20 is probably perfect.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about it. I love Spelunky.
Yeah.
Like, Spelunky's just a really great game. Like, it's got great humor. It's got great artistic level design. I think I wish it wasn't a roguelike in the sense that you die.
Gotcha.
Like a
It
checkpoint
restart.
restart.
Yeah, I wish there was a checkpoint system in it for someone like me. Because, like, when I get through a level, I'm, like, so pumped and excited that I was like, oh, finally, I made it through there. So I just wish they would add, like, it doesn't have to be the main game, but maybe a separate format of playing the checkpoint system.
Gotcha.
Then I'd be even more pumped because I've never been able to make it. I've never even been able to make it to the end, farther down levels. Like, I'm just not good enough at it. It's just a little too hard.
Yeah.
So, like, a checkpoint system would really be, a godsend for someone like me who really likes the game, and I've always wanted to get better at it. To this very day, like, every now I'll fire it up and I'll play a game of Spelunky, Like, it's just a lot of fun. It's like, I don't know, like a Mario kind of thing, like where you're jumping around, you're jumping on things and throwing, shells or whatever or skulls, at things. And it's just a great game. I think it'd be better if it wasn't a one life run game. I think it would help that game. But yeah, I'm with Mark. This is the game that's excited me the most. I'm pumped for Spelunky. I'd pay $20 day one for it. Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's like an Indiana Jones theme, right?
Yeah.
Like you're exploring.
Treasure hunter.
Yeah. So I like the theme. The guy, all the characters look really cool. It just has a nice like feel.
Yeah.
The little music's cool. I think a while ago, my wife and I played this together. It's just a cool game you could pick up with somebody, and then you guys are just trying to see who can get the farthest. Collect the most stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like these
It's
kind of
fun,
games.
man. I love Spelunky.
What about you, Godly Sour?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna really get Spelunky.
No.
If it's free, you know what I mean, or if you guys talked me into it and it was like a steal or something like that, I might think about grabbing it. But the only reason that I played Spelunky, the first one, was because it was free.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Same. Like
Yeah,
I would
that's why
never
I got
have
it too.
purchased
It's on
that,
the
but
place.
now that I've played it,
you're
I
willing
would
to buy.
buy. I would spend money on Spelunky
And if it's
too.
got a baby version, you're all there for it.
Yeah. If there's like a loser a loser mode, then I would definitely be.
That's gonna be
on
DLC, $5.
DLC $5.
Yeah, that might make me want to play it more too. Yeah, because I just
easy
hated.
mode, only $5.
Yeah, I just hated like starting it and then like, okay, what the hell do I do? And it's like, all right, I guess I'll go here and like fight around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I ended
yeah.
up dying pretty quick and stuff like that.
For
but
sure.
Yeah,
that is a tough one.
Yeah. So then after that, right, one of the other ones that I caught my eye was like Vader. Vader Immortal.
VR. That's Vader
Yeah,
VR,
so,
right? That's
yeah.
pure VR.
Yeah, that one's pure VR. So it was just something to be able to allow you to fight with lightsabers and whatnot. So
Is this the first Star Wars game in VR?
yeah.
Because
There's another one that's like almost like some Starship Troopers type stuff. You know what I mean? Like
okay.
you flying around in your ship. But I think that one comes out later.
Got you. So
So-
when I saw this, I thought like, dang. I didn't look it up, but I was like, is there more Star Wars games in VR? Because that formula seems right. Like anything with like a sword, like you're swinging a
Lightsabers,
lightsaber,
right? You
like
play-
that
Yeah,
seems sick.
that's
If
right.
you could do
Yeah.
PvP, you could be battling people.
PvP would be
Like,
Dude,
that would be
PvP
sick.
would be wicked.
You know, so this game, more than Hitman, this actually piqued my interest in VR because I thought like, I wonder what else they can do with that. You know, so this seemed cool. You know, I like when like the electricity was in the hands in the trailer.
Right.
Kind of reminded me of like, maybe a little bit like Skyrim-ish. But yeah, this one seemed pretty cool. You know, I'm interested to see more about this one.
Yeah, my father-in-law has he has a Quest, an Oculus Quest.
Oh, okay.
And he played Vader Immortal, but he played like the demo or whatever. And I think he enjoyed it.
Oh.
I think he said it was a pretty fun game. So, I don't know. What do you think about
My
it?
biggest
Do you have opinion?
beef with VR is what you've already mentioned. The amount, like the quantity, what you get with these games. They seem very short, very shallow.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the more fleshed out games. It's that's my one concern. Like, yeah, it did look fun. Like, yeah, what's not fun? How is it not fun to swing lightsabers around, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just fun. And it looked fun. Like, you had powers and stuff, too. Like, there were some good things going on there. But for me, I haven't been drawn into the VR realm yet because I just don't think that there is enough content inside the games to make me want to, like, spend the time to play them. They seem very shallow. Like, even just everything about them seems a little shallow. Like, the game, the story, what you can do in the game. It's just not as fleshed out as I would want them to be. And so while it did look fun, while it did look cool, I'm waiting for I don't know, like I'm just waiting for like a more depth in the VR direction before like I decide to take the plunge. So I was hoping like Hitman 3 would be that. Like if I get like Marcus said, if they don't cut anything, if it's like the full fleshed out game and I get everything that I want, then like wow, now that's the direction I want to see.
Yeah, that
VR
would be
go.
that would be a lot of information.
Yeah.
To be pumped through that VR headset. So.
But maybe the PS5 can do it, or the PS4 can. Maybe the PS5 can do it because
Yeah.
better hardware.
Yeah, I know there's another one. I think it's like Blood and Truth or something like that. That was a VR game, and that one was really good. It had gotten like really good raves, like reviews and stuff. And my cousin had let me borrow it, and I played it, and it was actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Like the shooting and whatnot was on point. It was like big levels that you had to go through, and you could maneuver through them like how you wanted, pretty much. You know what I mean? You kind of had like
Right.
your wall area, but you had like a lot of cover, and different things like that, and and the way you're using the guns. So they are doing some things with the VR. It's just finding those game companies that are gonna like put a lot of work into it, or if they're just gonna do rinky-dink, little
That's my concern.
niche
Right?
games.
That's my thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they it looks like the PlayStation 5 will allow you to use the VR headset that you already have with the PS5.
Right.
So I think it just requires an attachment or something like that,
Nice.
and it comes with the attachment in the box.
Oh,
so
nice.
that'll be nice. I hope that they keep that energy up with that, because I don't think they're ready to kill it off yet. I mean, they
Yeah.
just recently had killed off the Vita
Yeah.
like a year or so ago.
It's going on in
So-
this generation, and hopefully with the better hardware, they can give us better games, and then maybe get some more excitement around it.
I just want people to put more emphasis on the graphics, man.
Well, I just don't think. Yeah, I think it's like you said. It's hard to pump that kind of processing through that little headset.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I just wish it was just like just a view. You know what I mean? I don't need like pump all of the major details through the console. Just give me the eyesight to be able to see like in
I don't know
clear
what the deal is.
HD.
There's some bottleneck
you know?
there. Yeah, I've always wondered that. Like, why can't
I
you
don't
just
know.
like project it to my eyes? I don't get it. I'm not sure either.
Why aren't we Ready Player One yet? You know what I'm saying? Golly, you know. But yeah, so after the Vader thing, they showed Hood. That was the next one that caught my eyes. What do you guys think about Hood?
Yeah, Robin Hood, right? My first thought was Vermintide, like, because I'm not 100% sure exactly like what this is, but it seems like you have like a group of like 4 adventurers and like there's different classes like archery, warrior, and you're trying to get to like an end point, which is kind of like how Vermintide is.
Exactly.
You're getting to an end point and there's treasure there. But then they throw this loop in where there's like other players. So then I'm like, wait a minute, is this like a battle royale? Like, what is going on here? So I'm just not. So it has like pretty cool looking combat, fighting, bow and arrow, weapons. It has like, it looks like first person maybe. Like, so like Vermintide it just screams Vermintide to me. But I'm just still a little confused entirely on what this is.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, and then I was looking at an article or whatnot, it looked like it was basically like in the title it has like a description of heist on it. So it looks like you could be in a band with like, there's like one bank or something like that that's got a lot of money, and maybe there's like 3 groups of people that are all going after this money. And so you guys are all, you have your group and then, in their group, whatever. And so you're literally going through the environment to get to that bank. So you're going through whatever guys you got to get through, sneaking, fighting, whatever. And they're doing it as well. And then you're getting
so it's like
this
2
bank.
teams going for the same thing?
Yeah, and it's like who's the first person to steal, this stuff. So that's what I gleaned from it. It'll be better once we get like some actual tangible gameplay.
I hope there's a
what they're
single
talking about
group mode.
So,
well, then it'll probably
everything doesn't have to be competition, right?
You could play the other game. There was like Money Heist. Yeah, Payday.
Have you guys ever played Payday?
No. I never played that one.
See, I always wanted to play because it looked fun when I watched people stream it. I know it's like very like team oriented. You know, you guys all got to be doing something.
Yeah.
And it's like big teams. It's not even small teams.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I never played it personally, but I watch people on Twitch, and one of my cousins plays it, and I mean, it always seemed cool, the concept of the heist, just because you guys are all working together, as like a team kind of thing. So this game, Payday looks cool, but I like the theme and the world of this better.
The medieval's way better, right?
Yeah. So I'm very interested in this. I want to see more, like you guys were saying. But multiple teams heisting at the same time, that brings a different element to the game.
Yeah, I just don't want it to turn into that's a little bit of a bummer for me, because I don't want it to turn into the skill cap game, right? Where like you can't enjoy the game because you got to spend all these hours getting good at the game first before you can finally enjoy the game. That's my only problem. Which is why I rather like Vermintide, just like let us get good at beating like the environment rather than having to play against other players too. That's a little bit of a turnoff for me.
Yeah. So I mean, they did show quite a bit in that video or whatnot, but I'm definitely interested to see some.
The
more,
combat looked really fun.
Like,
it looked good as far as everything goes.
Right. So then after that, of course they at some point in time introduced Pathless.
Oh yeah.
So, Sir Knight, I know you were a little bit more enthused about that one.
Well, they were very proud of this game. Like Sony, they gave a pretty large segment of time to this game. Clearly, it's not a AAA title. It's very indie, arty looking. If anyone's played Journey, it reminded me of Journey as far as the art style goes. It has a very unique mobility system where there's these things to shoot at in the air with your bow that somehow launch you forward, and you can just keep the chain alive to really move quickly across the terrain, which seemed fun. I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for like combat.
Yep.
Like, what is she doing? So my first thought was like, is this just exploration, adventure? And then she come across like the demons in the world that you have to hide from, which seemed pretty interesting. And then you ultimately fight the demon, And so my mind just, oh, this is like a Shadow Colossus kind of a game to me.
Yeah, but at the same time, it felt like the fighting was the same way that you went around the world. It was like using the same thing. So it felt like there was no different concept. It's like, oh, now you're just putting damage on this dinosaur, but you're still shooting across with your bird or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I like that it was open world. I really like the graphics. Like, for some reason, it kind of reminded me like the Breath of the Wild, a little bit of the graphics.
Yep.
I really like that style. I like that it was bows and arrow based.
Mm-hmm. I like bow and arrows.
They said that it was timing, so everything's just based on timing. So that kind of reminded me, is it like some sort of like rhythm style
game?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, is this like a rhythm game then? Because I want to just be able to match my bow and arrow.
Yeah.
So, and then I started thinking of the movement. The fluid movements seemed awesome.
Right.
I was kind of disappointed by Haven when I saw the video of Haven. I was like, man, this game looks awesome. Like the movement.
Mm-hmm.
But when I tried it, the movement was just kind of pointless. You're following you're following these riffs for like no reason, you know?
Yeah.
So that kind of was in the back of my mind. I was like, is this going to be like another disappointment like Haven? But we'll see. But I would say the graphics look fantastic. The theme is cool. And I like bow and arrows. So
I hope it doesn't go the way of what Marcus is saying, where the boss fights are just the same thing, shooting your bow and arrow at the square that lights up.
probably will.
Because that was the thing in like Shadow of the Colossus. I don't know if you've ever played that. I know I know Garley Salvador's played that one, where each Colossus encounter is a unique experience, like a puzzle to solve. Right. But that is the game, right? Like, just the Colossuses are the game. The Colossi, like, that is the entirety of the game. You fight these different Colossi, right?
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing in that world.
There's nothing else to do. You're running.
The next Colossus.
But this seemed a lot like that. Like, you're just moving through the world. Like, in Shadow of the Colossus, you're just riding your horse through the world. It's an open world, but there's nothing to do in the world. There's a few things to find in the world, a few hidden things to find, and you're just going to the next Colossi, that you find. This seemed very similar to that, but then the fight, now that you mention it, the boss fight did seem very similar to how you move in the world. I hope they're more unique experiences. Like, every demon you come across throughout the world is a unique kind of puzzle to figure out how to defeat. Like, then it would be pretty neat, because they're like big, massive demons you're fighting.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll see.
So then they showed Temtem, and I know Mark Araya was super stoked about this, right?
I've been following this game maybe for a year now. I previously watched people. It's in early access already on the PC. I watched people play beta's version, and so pretty much for those out there who have never heard of Temtem, it's pretty much a Pokemon style game.
Yeah,
but this one features like actual online. So when you run around the world, you see other players. Excuse me. There's double battles, single battles. It's just that Pokemon feel, but with a more modern online multiplayer
MMO
integrated.
kind of feel, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of feel.
Yeah,
like it's
kind of. Like there's actual world. Where
like
you
it's
see
an
other
actual
people
world where you see
running
people.
around,
Yeah.
things
so
like that.
MMO feel to it.
Yeah. So it's exactly. So I'm pretty hyped for this. I wanted to get it on PC when it was like out of early access. It's on Steam currently.
Right.
This was awesome. The whole time I was like, why isn't this coming on consoles? Like, I was puzzled because it's not like the graphics are next generation graphics. They're just normal graphics that could play, probably well on a Switch.
Yeah.
But I was just scratching my head this whole time.
Probably do real well on a Switch.
Yeah. I was scratching my head like, why isn't this announced for any console? But it makes sense. But Sony, was in the works, and they acquired this.
So it's coming to Sony's platform.
Yeah, it's the only console
exclusively.
The only console other
console
than PC.
exclusively.
The only console
so console exclusive.
To PlayStation 5.
Wow.
Interesting. Another one.
That's exciting to me.
And
actually.
there's I follow like a lot of various streamers, but a lot of well-renowned streamers were playing Temtem. So I feel like this game has a lot of hype behind it, and it's they're smart bringing it to a console because this is a perfect console game.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's a straight Pokemon copy and paste.
Yeah,
which that's a great formula. Like, it's a really great formula to copy and paste.
Absolutely.
It's just perfect. It perfectly copies it. So for me, I've always been excited for it, and it's like, finally, Pokemon on PlayStation. Yeah. Like, it's kind of cool. Like, I'm excited for that. The one thing I do think Pokemon still has on this game though is the Pokemon models are not as cool looking, I think, as Nintendo's Pokemon models.
Agreed.
You're
They're
talking
a little
about Temtem's models.
Yeah, Temtem models are a little plain, a little blocky, not very exciting looking. When that's one of the funnest things about Nintendo's Pokemon is when your guy evolves. They look really cool and really neat. I think that's my only complaint here, but I'm gonna play this.
Isn't Temtem's world set like in like prehistoric times or something like that?
I
Like,
believe so.
What's the world? Yeah, it's like dinosaurs
Yeah.
and crap, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're thinking like, it's probably like Stegosauruses and other dinosaur-looking type Pokemon or whatever, as opposed to these modernish
Right.
style
Yeah.
animals and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think
I
it has a
don't know.
lot of potential. Like it's still in early access. There's still a lot of development, but hopefully, like Ray's saying, we get these awesome, epic-looking final
Right.
evolutions. We get these cool legendary.
Yeah, the legendaries.
So I would say things like that. Hopefully they can add to the game a little easier. Down the road.
I
But
definitely
we'll see.
see myself sitting on the couch playing this. Like
Yeah.
I just I've envisioned myself
Yeah,
doing
and
that.
I always wondered why not many companies try to make Pokemon clones
Mhm.
because it's such a fun style of game. Like I know back in the day I used to play. I feel like back in the day they tried more. Like I used to play the Dragon Quest
is
monsters.
like that. Yeah.
I used
you
to
ever
play those
played
on
Digimon?
No, I never played the Digimon games.
Because Digimon was kind of like that,
Okay.
where Digimon is like Pokemon damn near.
Yeah.
But,
I never played the games.
you're battling with them and stuff like
Ah.
that. So, but they had like their evolved forms, but
Because they
I
came
guess
out.
the difference between that was that they reduced back down to the lowest form. So you
Gotcha.
didn't walk around with your boss mode, dude. Like
Got you.
all
Just
the
only
time.
when you
Mhm.
battle when you need it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Persona 5 kind of always reminded me of Pokemon a little
That
bit,
was
where
a
you're
little bit.
you're collecting
Yeah.
monsters.
Yeah, for sure.
But just the Pokemon formula where you're going from gym to gym, collecting the
capturing
badges
these,
and
yeah.
battling another trainer. It's just a great formula. Like I can absolutely see myself jumping into the Temtem world when it hits PlayStation for sure.
Yeah, it'll be nice to check it out on there
Mhm.
and whatnot. Hopefully they got like a demo or something. Yeah, I wish
Yeah,
they would have
hopefully.
more demos available for games
Yeah.
so people could try them. That's technically what Game
With
Pass
these
is,
MMO
big demo.
games, it's set up for free to play. Like, what does it cost for early access on the Steam? Do you know?
$39.99.
Oh wow,
That's an actual game.
That's
You bought the
pricey.
game.
That's pretty
Yeah.
pricey, but
That's a little bit. So yeah, so after that, then they showed auto chess.
Yeah, so this is Valve's Auto Chess. So there was a time last year when these were like the next, these are like the battle
they're
royales.
crazy,
Okay.
man.
So for our viewers out there, Auto Chess is where you get units, you put them on a grid style board. That's why they call them
Like
chess.
a chessboard.
Like a chessboard.
Mm-hmm.
And you arrange them. You have a set duration, like 30 seconds. You wait, and then there's multiple other players who are also doing that on their end.
Okay.
So then, one round it's my units versus Mark's, Godly Sovereign's units. And then at the end of the round, one person wins, one person loses. And then you get to draft a choice of like 3 to 5 different units. And you want to keep building your team up. And
Okay.
it has that feel where when you get multiple units of the same type, they get stronger and stronger. And
Right.
then they have synergy. There's types to them. So when you have a certain number of types on your board, they get certain abilities. So you just kind of trying to draft the best team. It's kind of like a drafting game, and then you get to see it play out.
Yeah, it always reminded me, the best way I've ever described it for any of our listeners who've played board games, this has always reminded me of like a deck builder. Like you're kind of like buying. So you have like money and you have a shop and you're buying monsters and you can refresh the shop. Like in a deck builder, you can choose to bring a new row out. Like some cards let you bring a new row out. This just lets you pay a gold or whatever it is to refresh the shop, and you're trying to find units or monsters that match what you have to make certain combinations, or certain types of units to make certain types or groups of units that are the same type that are like a tribe of a kind. And so that's basically the game. It's just basically like a deck builder. You're just buying pieces, building, I say your deck, but it's more like your monster lineup, and it's like a limited amount. It's really fun because, it's always fun to buy, right? So they're a lot of fun. And then once you have like a minute, like Mark or I is saying, you have like a minute to buy. And then once you've done all your buying and you've spent all your money, then your monsters jump into the chessboard, Godly Sovereign's monsters jumping in the chessboard and our monsters battle. And we see which groups, who's in a better job, managing their money.
So you're technically like predicting moves that your opponent will make.
Yeah, and there is a way
Exactly.
to kind of like look at how
Exactly.
well they've done. You're like, oh, wow, they did really good. So maybe I should do this. I should buy these types of minions or these types of things.
Yeah, like
Okay,
you could counter people. So let's say you're all physical based. You're building assassins.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna build warriors who have a lot of armor and HP. So like you could see the ranking system, like who's winning the most battles. So you could kind of counter who's on top. Like, okay, they're probably a skilled player.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of different strategy elements, and I love auto battlers. I don't know what, it's just such a chill thing to play.
They're fun on phones.
They're fun on
There's
phones,
nothing chess about it.
No, it's just chess because it's on a board.
It's on a board, yeah.
Okay.
If you really want to try a really fun auto battler that's free and easy to play, I would just jump in Hearthstone. Hearthstone has their own auto battler.
Battlegrounds,
Yeah,
yeah.
we call it auto chess, but just like an auto battler, and it's a lot of fun. You just buy units. You'll jump right in. You'll see how much fun it is, and then that's when you play that. Like, oh, that's exciting to see it coming to PlayStation, right?
So yeah, I always wondered why none of these were on consoles, and they got. I really like the Valve's auto chess, and good job Sony getting this on your console.
Yeah.
This is obviously gonna be a free game, so there's no reason not to try it. So
Yeah. So then they showed Godfall. That was the next one that had caught my eye. They showed a little bit more gameplay
Definitely.
on that one.
Yep.
Talked a lot more, I should say.
Yes, big
about
segment.
the things that were going on in Godfall. So, I'll jump to you, Sir Knight. How'd you feel about all that information?
First thought, 3 players. It's
Perfect for the
WLG ready.
squad.
Yeah, it's WLG ready. I thought the combat looked fun. I'm still super disappointed in the graphics. I do not think this looks next gen at all.
I felt the same way.
It's just I just don't see that. Their loot slasher, they're making up a new way, a new game type, I guess. But yeah, the combat looked a lot of fun. There was a lot of abilities to collect. They looked flashy, powerful. My first thought, bro, this is more so to Godly, is what do they call their armor? They called it, let me grab it here really quick. They called it Valor plates.
Yeah,
So my first thought was shard plates.
for sure.
I was like, have these guys been reading Stormlight Chronicles? Because I felt like it was a straight copy.
Yeah.
You're going around trying to collect these powerful, angel tier, god tier plates, which is almost identical to like Stormlight, where you have shard plates.
It's a
you
bug,
know,
yeah.
and so for me, it's like, well, that was really neat. Like that's exciting. If they're kind of like, you grab these really powerful pieces of armor that give you different unique abilities and skills. Like, I'm down for that. That looks like a lot of fun. The combat looks fun. I do worry about repetitiveness. I do worry if it gets, repetitive. But other than that, I'm still interested. I'm going to play this game, especially with the We Love Gaming crew.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but there's no classes. The weapons are the classes. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's no set.
Yes.
There's no
classes,
set path
just
or
the
anything.
weapons
You can
give
just
you your
choose what weapon
primary
you want.
and your secondary
Like
ability.
Dauntless, right?
Yeah, I was really disappointed when they said that because I feel like you just play now. You can just have one character. Why create multiple characters? So
That was only because that was only certain games that made you want to do that. I didn't like having to level up 3
but
different characters.
for loot games, I love having multiple characters. I love creating new characters. Like for like these dungeon looting games, man, I love having a lot of alts. Playing a lot of different characters, trying new things. I love that feature. So for me, this game is like now you only have to play one character. So I wanted the incentive to play multiple characters, to get a new feel, a different perspective. But now I could just switch my weapons. So I was kind of bummed with that. But for me, the boss battle looked pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of like a Dark Souls type.
Yeah.
I hope that the bosses are more varied. Like there's more mechanics. There's like spellcasters. There's I just hope that the boss fights have good scripted events happening, not just kind of like tank and spank where you're just dodging and
Okay.
So that was my only gripe with it. But I thought the graphics looked fine. I didn't have any.
Yeah,
gripes
I just
about the
think that
graphics.
they're not next gen. They
Not
look like
next gen.
current gen to me. Like
Yeah.
they look fine, but I'm expecting like something incredible, but they're just not quite delivering that.
Yeah, so see, all right, so when I look at Gearbox, right, the only game that comes to my mind is Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe they used the same artists to do this game, Godfall. And so
It's not shell shaded though.
it's not as good. I'm saying that they've perfected the cell shading.
Gotcha.
And so now they're trying to do these
Their
other
engine
graphics,
isn't capable
and
of.
it ain't-
I see.
Yeah, it ain't it. And like
haven't
I'm
developed
looking
an
at
engine
this,
yet, yeah.
and I'm thinking like, man, this looks like something I could have seen at the beginning of the PS4. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this doesn't
to
look
know.
like vibrant colors. It doesn't look like there's, you can see the water dripping off of the armor or anything like that. It doesn't look like anything special. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
just looks
it's
like
like
whatever.
corridors too.
Yeah.
It's like corridor combat.
Right. Well, I mean, like what they showed us, it doesn't, it doesn't look like it's really open world or anything like that.
But you know what I mean about corridor combat, right? How like all you see is a corridor. Like that's like old school like Doom, where like it's just corridor combat.
Yeah.
Walls all
Yeah,
around.
walls around you. Like that should be easy to make beautiful, and it just
That's a good
wasn't quite
point.
there.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But looking at the combat, man, I felt the combat was like mad weak. I'm definitely getting like, oh, this is gonna be repetitive as hell. Like, I mean, it looked like the moves that they kept showing, which
Yeah, that's a good point.
it could have been just bad on their part, and there could be a plethora of moves, but it just looked like he was doing the same slashes with the spin attack at the end of it, as the finishing combo. Like, it didn't look like anything new. So I was just kind of like, all right, So this kind of
There were varied powers though.
there were definitely
Yeah.
varied powers,
Right.
but I just like even looking at the powers, like I didn't feel like it was something that like made it look like it was extremely powerful on screen. It just looked like it was a move or something like that, like an ability. Like for
It
instance,
wasn't very weighty.
yeah, for instance, when we watched the Marvel Avengers, right, and you see Thor flying around and he's chucking
Good
the
comparison.
hammer, like
Mhm.
that looks powerful. Like dude looks like he's kicking butt out there. And like I feel it through the screen, you know what I mean? That's freaking Thor, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? When you seeing the Hulk run around and he's smashing and stuff like that looks powerful. But these moves here didn't look powerful to me. So I'm hoping it's not some major disappointment. But like as of right now, my hopes definitely aren't high. You know what I mean? When it was first introduced, I was like, okay, where they going with this? And seeing this now, my expectations might be slightly lower. You know what I mean? So
Right.
this is definitely something I kind of feel is like for Xbox, Rise.
Oh yeah.
the-
Rome,
right.
Rome,
that
Rise,
Rome,
yeah.
Rise,
Launch title.
yeah. It seemed like it was like a really cool game, like a fun game to play.
Very
But I
repetitive combat.
feel like it died down like really
It
quick.
did.
Like it was literally, it only hit its mark for the launch title. Like that's all it was good for. And we all, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but like I looked at those games for the Xbox One and to see if it was something that I'd want to get, and I was like, dude, man, their launch titles are kind of
Were
like
weak.
basic, yeah.
Yeah.
And this, was supposed to be one of their bread and butters, and it still looked basic.
But-
And so
But you have to put some faith in Gearbox. At least they know how to do loot.
they know how to do looter shooters.
But loot in general,
Yeah.
like they know how to do loot.
Right. But I mean,
So-
I feel like, I just feel like they should have showcased more loot then. If that was
Yeah,
the case, right?
they didn't
that's-
showcase enough loot.
That's literally.
But they said they're going
what
to talk about
Gearbox-
that later.
Yeah, that's literally what Gearbox just like focuses on. Anytime they show a Borderlands, it's loot, 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 loot. Like that's all they're showcasing. The loot coming out, all that stuff, or whatever. Because it's supposed to be that type of game.
Right.
But if this is supposed to be a looter, and this is Gearbox who does looters, right? I felt like they should have put more emphasis on the loot. They should have just like a little bit of combat or whatever, just seeing monsters down and then picking up some epic piece or something like that. I just felt like they should have thrown that in there.
They weren't
and
showing
that
loot
would
at
have
all,
enticed
but-
me more. But yeah,
But I
from what I
trust-
saw,
yeah.
enemies was getting downed. I ain't see nothing dropping. I didn't see nobody putting on nothing that was like extravagant as hell. Like, ooh, the gleaming on that. You know what I mean? Like, the Clan Sakai armor upgraded to max in Ghost of Tsushima looked better than the stuff I was seeing in Godfall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. Like I'm just kind of like my meter for Godfall went from like like real possible day one title. For launch. It's like I'm gonna check it out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I completely agree with Golly Sovereign. That's how my meter went too. It's still high because it's made by Gearbox, so I still have faith that they're gonna make an okay tier or above game. It's not gonna be trash,
Right.
but the meter definitely went down, just because the class system seemed, just with weapons, seemed whack. I want to be able to use magic. I want to be able to, what if I just want to use staffs and I want to do spells and stuff? So I'm locked in to be some warrior type character. And on top of that, exactly like Godly Sovereign was saying, it's not weighty. If I get a certain epic weapon, is it going to give me an epic ability that's not one of these primary or secondary? So I have a lot of questions in my mind, but it looked a little blandish.
Isn't that classless model like Monster Hunter, where it just your combat style changes depending on like what weapons you get and craft?
Exactly.
So I think it's more along like that route versus like a class route. So there is a legitimate route that's a legitimate form of combat.
They did say that there's skill trees with the weapons.
Right.
So that's cool. But at least Monster Hunter, the world looked.
Yes, the world's terrible in this.
Looked lush, and there's a lot of loot in Monster Hunter actually. Like I hope that they show us, like Mark was saying, we didn't see jack. At least Monster Hunter, you can go pick crap, collect stuff, look at my inventory. So if it's more similar to Monster Hunter, sure. But the boss, I hope that's the case.
Yeah, the corridor combat really was a down when I was like, oh my gosh, dude, like he's just going down a corridor, then he turns the next corridor. I'm like, dude, this seems like, dude, we're in a generation where open world is like the necessary way you play a game now. You can have all that combat, but put it in like an open type world. Like you can't even do that. What is going on here? Yeah, there's something wrong. There's something wrong here that's not adding up. Like either they're throwing their secondhand developer team at this, or there's just something wrong with this game that I can't quite put my finger on it. But like I do have faith in Gearbox when it comes to loot, and loot's always fun. Yeah. So I'm still. So I'm gonna save my judgment till I see more of like that aspect.
That's fair.
Of the game. If that's gonna fail too, then I'll be trash on it too. You know?
And man, I was so excited for you, dude, because I know that you were waiting for Bug Snacks.
Oh my
right?
goodness!
You guys were so hyped about Bug Snacks last time we talked about it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, Mark Araya, how did you feel, man? Finally getting to know what they got in store for Bug Snacks.
Pleasantly surprised. It went from trash tier, like garbage, I don't even want to know anything about it, to I was actually okay. Let's take a look. So it went from trash tier to okay tier.
Why?
All you do is collect these freaking Bug Snacks, take them back to town. Because I like the style, the humor. It looks like they're actually trying to craft an environment. The gameplay seems repetitive as heck, but I'll give them props. I'll give them props that the characters seem like they have an identity. It seems humorous, and I like actually the graphics. Why couldn't this game been anything other than collecting Bug Snacks? It probably would have been a decent game because it looks like the graphics are pretty good.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. I definitely, my mind was definitely changed a little bit about Bug Snacks from seeing this in the state of play. Because, as far as I was concerned, like, Bug Snacks just look like a stupid game for, like, people to just, like, mess around with or something like that. Yeah, it's just like a little BS game, like Octodad or something like that. Some little humor in it for you to play around with. But then I see in the state of play, like, they're showing you're setting traps. You're sitting there, like, shooting, like, burger birds out the sky. You know what I mean? You're doing it, and it has, like, a story with it in a sense too, and you have the little the little quests and different things like that. So it seems like it might be a lot of interaction in the world that's not just Bug Snacks, but it also seems like there are creative ways for you to catch these Bug Snacks. It's not like you just running around the world picking things and then just eating them. It's you setting traps, you know what I mean? So then this almost feels like a type of survival game in a sense, not fully, but in a sense, because it's like, or like a hunter or something like that. Like, you gotta, you get your ghillie suit and you hide in the bushes and you got your little trap set up, and then, some little strawberry thingy, comes and boom, pops up and you got it. Or, maybe they include, I don't think they'll include guns in it, but maybe they have like some kind of a dart gun or something like that you could
bow and arrow.
shoot them with. Yeah, or a bow and arrow or something like that.
So what's the point though?
To collect bug snacks,
Yeah,
fool.
that they didn't really show. Like, do we buy new traps? Could we buy like a?
What's the point? Like,
I don't know.
Oh, that looked fun. Let me go catch another one and see what that looks like on me.
Well, from
like,
the beginning of the story that they kind of showcased a little bit in the video is like you're a journalist or something like that, and your boss sends you on this mission. He says that if you go and check this out, you better come back with something, or else you're gonna get fired or whatever. So it's this dude. He's really interested in his bug snacks, so he goes over to this place, this island or whatever, to check these out. And then he starts getting involved with all that stuff. And then, when we saw in the previous trailer or whatever that they had shown, there was like some evil villain, bug snack dude or whatever.
Yes,
so
that's what's confusing me.
I feel like, they haven't fully given us the story.
Mm-hmm.
And
are you building a bug snack farm? Or are you building up like is it like the game your wife loves?
Animal Crossing.
Is it like Animal Crossing where like you're building and collecting and building? Like, what are you doing? I don't know what the point of this is. Just to change the way. Oh, cool! I got a strawberry bug snack. My nose changed to a strawberry. Like, I don't understand. Like, what am I doing this for?
But you got to, at the same time, right? You got to think of like No Man's Sky. Like when you got No Man's Sky, you was like, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
I knew exactly what it was though.
The world or whatever. No, you knew it was.
I knew it was a survival game. I knew it was a survival game, like what you're talking about. I knew it was like Grounded.
But I don't know.
You're collecting survival game, building a base to survive.
Yeah, I felt like that's not even what No Man's Sky is.
Yeah,
though.
it is.
It doesn't. You didn't even need to build a base to survive. You didn't need any of that stuff to survive. You just needed to stay out of the cold and heat. You didn't even eat food or anything like that.
You needed
so
to
it was
build
an exploration game. It wasn't a survival game. I mean,
yeah,
it was
survival.
You're surviving in an exploration world, but normal survival games require for you to eat, drink.
You had to, you had to
build a place of residence.
You had to do that, not eat, but you had to keep your levels. You would die out in the world if you didn't eat or activate the certain element, because there was like harsh environments. So your suit was always depleting. You had to keep eye on your suit. It was survival.
Yeah, but I don't remember ever having.
I
to
died
eat
out in the world all the time. No, it's not. It's not eating, but it's a meters. It's a health. It's a life meter that the environment is slowly depleting.
Right. I felt like
That's
was
the
just
same
more.
thing.
I just felt like that was more.
Instead of calling it food, you call it
exploration.
instead of calling it food, you call it suit levels.
Well, I mean, you had like places that were super hot or super cold because you explored it, though, is what I'm saying. Like you could literally just sit there and not do anything on like your initial planet under a rock, and you could just chill there.
No,
like
you
there
ran
was
out
no
of oxygen.
requirement for you to go.
You ran out of oxygen. You ran out, and certain planets had. So you had oxygen levels you had to maintain, and you had suit levels you had to maintain.
But
that's water. That's food.
But you
What's
didn't
the
have to
difference?
maintain that in the ship. You could just get in the ship, and you had all the oxygen.
Right. That's why you
needed.
build a shelter, because when you get into the shelter keeps your oxygen levels high.
I'm talking about the ship. The ship, the one that crashed, you had to repair it or whatever to get it working again.
Right.
You could still get inside of it. So you could literally just get inside of it and chill. You would not die. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's not the game though. The
game
is to collect. No, to collect. It's a collecting exploration game. Just like Ground, it's identical.
Well, just like you said, a collecting exploration game.
Yes.
It's more so to explore.
That's what Ark is too.
That's what they showcased was.
But
this
that's what
grand,
Ark is too.
This grand thing. I felt like that one was more survival. I don't remember, but did you have to like eat?
No Man's Sky is survival, exploration,
a
collection,
and all that stuff.
That's what Ark is.
When I played Ark, it was just like fighting dinosaurs. I didn't build a base. I'm not saying you probably could.
Right.
You just try to tame these dinosaurs. You work up your stats and your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still consider those survival games.
Yeah, so I guess a type of survival or
Yeah.
something like that, but I just didn't see it as severe as like Don't Starve, where you literally, if you sit still, you're gonna die.
You would too in No Man's Sky. If you sat still, you would die.
I don't believe that.
You had oxygen levels. You would die.
I can sit still in the plane.
You don't remember that?
That's it, in the plane. And I think there was some levels that you didn't even require oxygen. Like it was there on the planet. Like there was other planets.
So you can sit still in the plane? That's not the game though. The second you start going out and to play the game, if you sit still, you die.
Right, but I'm saying in Don't Starve and like grounded, right? You just sit still, like wherever you were at, like where you first came in at. If you just sat still, you would die from starvation, from thirsty, whatever. You would die. But in No Man's Sky, you literally start off by your plane. If you got in your plane, you could live forever. If you stood outside of your plane, depending on the planet,
you're not playing the game,
you could live
then.
forever. Duh. I know what the game is going around and trying to do things. Like most of the other places, you're trying to build your base, you're finding food, you're trying to give weapons,
that's all survival.
Different things like that.
No Man's Sky is the same.
But they have different. They had different aspects. I feel like the other ones were more survival. Like this one had a big emphasis on exploration,
building.
I feel like they didn't really add the building in until like later. I mean, I don't know. I know that they added like a whole bunch of updates and DLC and things like that to make the game better. But I'm just talking about like the initial, when you got the game, you didn't even know what to do. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, do I look around?
It's not as severe
animals?
It's not as severe as Don't Starve, but it's still survival.
Yeah.
You still have to survive.
Yeah, but I don't think Bugsnax definitely ain't no survival game.
Nah, but it could be.
But
who knows?
Like you were saying, and like I said, it went from trash tier to okay tier. Because I do like games where you can just jump on and BS. Mm-hmm. And it seems like this one, you can jump on and BS trying to catch bugs. You know, hopefully there's epic Bugsnax that you have to do some. Hey, you need these 3 traps to do it. You know, you have to lead them to a particular area. I can see how this could be potentially fun. Is this a $60 game?
Nah.
Heck no. Is this a $10 game? I'm still debating that. But I think that I like the humor, the style, the world, the story. They're actually trying to make this like a legitimate game, I think.
I think, yes, I see the humor and I see the world. I think that the gameplay was terrible, though. Like, me trying to get those burgers to go in that hole seems super boring to me. When it first started and there was the strawberry bug, I was like, okay. He's like, okay, we're going to try to catch this. Like, that seemed intriguing. And then when you started seeing, like, other things, like the carrot nose or whatever, and, like, the burger hogs, that looked real boring to me. That did not look like something I wanted to actually sit down and do deliberately. So I need to know more. Like, I need to know for sure more. Like, if I even if I have any patience left still for this game, what is the point? Like, what am I trying to do? Is it like a Pokemon collector? Like, what is the point?
This is the point. They need more exclusives. They got this for the low, you know. So like, just do whatever you want, make it look good
for the low.
So I think that this is just another exclusive. This is another, you know, tally for them on their exclusive list.
Yeah, well, I mean, the game studio that did this one, they did like another game that was pretty much like pointless. Like, it didn't really have like a large major point to it, and it was just for fun.
Gotcha.
You know, so I think that they just were keeping with the same.
Why is there so much hype then for this thing?
Because people really liked the other one. I mean, it's not like crazy hype.
I
mean,
it's
like,
just enough
Sony
for people to
hyping
talk
it.
about it.
Oh, well, why not?
They sold that other game. I can't remember what that game is. I can't remember the name. If somebody wants.
I mean, the hyped up Haven, and look at that.
No, but they're really hyping this up. Like, I watched one video where like they hyped up like the singer who sung Bugsnax.
Okay.
Bugsnax. That's that dumb song.
It's
like,
Jack
that's
Black,
that's like a whole music video.
No, it's not as awesome.
If it was Jack Black, see,
they have like a whole music video. They have like someone singing that song, and like they constantly talk about it, bring it up at these state of plays. It's like, why are they like making it a centerpiece? I don't get it.
Maybe they're trying to
it's not like a 30% downvote. Like, if you go look at like the player, it's got like a 30% downvote.
Maybe they're trying to attract the kids. Maybe kids
don't get it.
Interested in it.
All right, so all in all, like, how'd you guys feel like about the state of play? Like, do you know?
I'll start and just keep it simple. Overall, I was disappointed for just not necessarily for the games, but I wanted to see the price. Mm-hmm. Give us some more price and relaunch. I know probably state of plays, they don't normally do that, but I wanted that out of this event. Okay.
Yeah.
The big game I wanted was Godfall. I was a little bit disappointed with that.
Right.
Fair.
Temtem, I was excited, but not enough to like. If I wasn't gonna buy a PlayStation, I'm not gonna buy a PlayStation for Temtem. So overall, this was an informative event, but I didn't leave it hyped. I left it a little bit on the disappointed, asking for more. I wanted more info.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, I know a lot of people were upset that it wasn't going to focus on the PS5 or next gen as much. I wasn't quite in that crowd because like we're still in the current gen, and I want to know what I can play this month.
State of play.
You know, I want to know what I can play this month, or next month. You know,
Yeah.
But I wasn't excited about any of the games that they really showed. Godfall was the one I was kind of looking forward to, and that didn't quite. It didn't wow. It just didn't wow. Like some things perked my ear when I heard the plate. The Valor plate, like, because I'm a big fan of Stormlight Chronicles. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Are they going to bounce off that with shard plates? Like, that was the one cool thing I thought about Godfall, so that got me a little excited. But it definitely crashed for me. And, like, you know, as I'm looking at these games, I'm like, yeah, there's nothing there. Maybe Temtem, like, that I'm super pumped, or maybe Spelunky too. But nothing, you know, super hip there. So, yeah, I'm a little bit down on it.
Yeah, when I went into the state of play, I knew when it was, but I didn't know anything that was going to be showcased. You know, I didn't know what they were, if they had mentioned, like, oh, we're going to show this and that and whatever. So I went into it not knowing anything and not really caring. Once I heard that it wasn't going to be much PS5 information, they said it was going to be no PS5 information, but of course that was a lie because they showed games that would be on the PS5. Yeah. So I'm not sure why they made that announcement.
Yeah, they showed some PS5 games.
That kind of throwed it off for me. But, you know, when I was just looking at some of the stuff that was, you know, shown, there was nothing really that I was really enthused about except for Godfall and seeing that. And even then it was kind of like, you know, let's see. And, you know, when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. They're going to show some extra stuff on Godfall. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, damn, they shouldn't have shown this extra stuff on Godfall because now I don't really care.
Right.
I care about it even less than I did before.
I agree.
And so, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I wasn't looking forward to this state of play. You know, I got enough to play right now. And then I already know what's coming that I'm really interested in. So, I mean, unless you got some, like, you know, mind-changing, you know, stuff that you want to show me that's coming out for the PS4 that I should buy now, that's, you know, going to carry over to the PS5, then I really don't need nothing else. Just drop what you're going to drop and let's move on. Like, don't give me no other state of play. Don't give me no other events unless it's PlayStation 5. That's all I care about. I want to see you drop me a price, even if it's 5 seconds long and it's just a picture with the prices. Cool. Bet. I already know. I know what it is now. But I don't need any of that extra stuff. Don't show me no Vader, no Hood, none of that. You could just post those trailers from those game studios, you know, and retweet them or something like that. Like, you don't need to do a whole, like, oh, take out 30 minutes of your day and check this out. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess it's good to consolidate it all, but I didn't need it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It was disappointing.
But, you know, with that being said, you know, that was about all that I think we wanted to talk about.
Yep.
You know, thanks to our listeners, our viewers. Subscribe. Click that big old red button down there. Hit us with a like, comment, because we definitely want to hear if there was a game that we didn't mention that you wanted to talk about or something that or that you really felt was like, oh, this is like top tier or something like that. You know, drop it in the comments. Let us know. Maybe we totally trashed a game that you was really looking forward to seeing or hearing us talk about, and you like, nah, man, you totally wrong. Tell us why.
Yeah, if you disagree, let us know.
Yeah, just let us know. We got a Discord, so follow us on that. We have Twitters. All of us do. We all have Instagrams. It's all at godly_sovereign. His is at Markariah. Yeah. And his is at Sir Knight. It's all WLG, one word, or it's got the underscore on it.
No, it's all one word. Sir Knight WLG.
Yeah, Sir Knight WLG.
Yeah, just go to our website, welovegaming.org. It doesn't have our Instagrams, but I'll add all of our Instagrams. But it has all of our links to our Twitches, our YouTubes, our Discord. So just go to welovegaming.org, and it has all of our links right there.
Right. Yeah, we're constantly streaming on Fridays, for sure. At 8 o'clock, we're always streaming something. And then from time to time, we're doing streams in the mornings, on Saturdays, or in the evenings, or whatever. But, you know, click them links, check us out.
Give us a follow on Twitch.
Yeah, follow us. Follow us on podcast, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Spotify. What did I say? Podcast?
Follow us on podcast.
Follow us everywhere where podcasts are available because
Yeah.
we're damn near there. Except for iTunes because they kind of tripping with the image thing. I'm still working on that. But yeah, so anyways, I'm Godly Sovereign.
Mark Araya here.
Sir Knight.
We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.
I love you, me.